City Matters.
Hello, and thank you for joining me today. I'm your host, Bernie Furshpan. On today's episode of Ordinary Heroes on hmTV, I have a very special guest, Bill Mirro. Bill Mirro, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Bill Mirro is a man who embodies courage, service, and sacrifice. He was an FDNY firefighter and a 9/11 responder. Before we talk about 9/11, which is a day that we memorialized this past week, I'd love to go back to your beginnings. What inspired you to become a firefighter? Was it something you always knew you wanted to do?
It actually just came upon me through my cousin who stopped at my house and dropped off an application. I never dreamed of being a fireman. It wasn't something I looked forward to. I was in construction trades, working for a roofing shop, and just looking for something a little more stable in the future and better benefits and stuff like that. So, I was young and had a long way to go in the construction trade. So I took the application and took the test in 1977. And they finished the testing in 78, and I was hired in 78.
So it wasn't something that you always wanted to be a firefighter. Did you have a fire truck when you were a little kid and you wanted to be a fireman or a policeman?
I probably did, but I don't remember anything in particular.
Right.
But to me,
everybody has a different reason.
Yeah, anything exciting is good.
Right.
Good by me. So
everybody had a reason for becoming a fire. Some of them, it's a lineage, a family lineage, where the father, the grandfather were firefighters, and they wanted to, to pass along that legacy.
Yeah. No, I had a cousin and an uncle who were firefighters, and they didn't really talk about it all that much, but I went for it.
The fire department in New York City is sometimes called a brotherhood. Did you sense that brotherhood, and when did you start feeling that?
I actually sensed the brotherhood while I was taking the exam, the city exam. There was 25,000 applicants. They hired 9,000, but when I was at the Brooklyn Armory taking the test on April Fool's Day, I remember, of 78, we were all helping one another. Everybody in the place, now we're competing for the same job, but everyone was helping each other along, rooting for each other, pulling each other along. And I thought it was kind of special. I had never really experienced anything like that before, and it was very easy to go along with. And then, of course, then you go to the fire academy when you first get appointed. And the fire academy, right away, they tell you all that stuff, but it's really, it's just something that has to sink into the individual. And in probie school, it was exactly the same way, except 10 times stronger. The bond, you're split into different groups, squads, and everybody in that squad is really helping each other like a brother, really like a brother.
It's like a family.
And it's absolutely like a family. And we became very tight, like just a group of, say, 14 of us that were in one particular squad. And you learn that right away. And I think most guys catch on to that. It's,
So on the morning of 9/11, where were you when you first heard what was happening at the Twin Towers?
I had 23 years on the job at the time. I had 12 years in the firehouse. I was working in Ladder 126 in South Jamaica. Then I went to the Firefighters Union, Uniform Firefighters Association, and I did 12 years at the union. So that was at my 11th year of working with the union. And I was at the union office on 23rd Street and 3rd Avenue at 6:45 that morning. I was there early because I was the one responsible for presenting a just negotiated city contract to the entire membership of 9,400 members. And I had to put everything together and prepare. And there's a lot of things very odd about that day, that little odd stories. And one of them actually was that all summer long, which was not the norm, I was in a suit and tie, dress shoes, every day all summer because of negotiations with City Hall.
And you represented all the firefighters in New York City.
9,400. There's the Fire Officers Union and Firefighters Union. There's 2,500 fire officers, 9,400 firefighters. So because of that day, what I had to do, all the work I had to do, prepare, I was going to lock myself in my office. I told my secretary I'm taking no calls and taking no visitors, and I'll probably end up being there from 7 in the morning till at least 7 o'clock that night. So I was wearing Dockers and golf shirt and sneakers, which happens then to be one of my lucky things from that day. So I was at my desk working when the first plane hit. And there was a television in the president's office, and the secretaries came in and said that a plane just hit the World Trade Center. So that was approximately 9 o'clock. So I turned my scanner on at my desk, and I started listening, and it's like, so I went down the hallway to look at the TV, and I couldn't believe what I was looking at. And I could hear all the frantic dispatch calls on the scanner. And so while I was there looking at the TV, the second plane hit the tower. And as soon as that happened, I ran out. I ran down the hall back to my office. I said, I hope they have the F-14s in the air. That was my first thought immediately. And I ran down to my office, grabbed my keys, and called my son's firehouse. He was in fire patrol. It's like a separate division of associated with the fire department. And he was in Manhattan. I didn't know if he was working that day. And I called his firehouse to see if he was there. And the guy that answered the phone said, oh, yeah, he's working. They just left, going downtown. So I jumped in my car, my dark blue Crown Vic with the red light on the dashboard. And I went down 23rd Street to, I don't know which avenue, one of the avenues on the west side. That's a one-way coming north. And I didn't really care. I just wanted to get there quick. So I turned down the one-way avenue the wrong way. And I was flying. I was there at 9:15. So, I mean, the second plane hit, I think, 9:03 or something. So I was there, like, instantly. But I was flying down that avenue, going the wrong way. And I don't believe a single car passed me. It was just people. It was really strange. There was nothing but pedestrians all walking north, walking away from down south. And at each intersection that I went by, there was people are just waving me. They're like stopping traffic that were from the side streets, if there even was anything, and they're going like this. They're waving me by, and I flew down there. Because I planned on not staying there that long, coming back and finishing my work, I said, I'm going to have to get out of here. You know, there's going to be a lot of rigs. So I parked about 2 blocks away and walked. I was near West Street, went to West Street, West Side Highway, and walked down to the site. From there, and I'm seeing all the rigs already that are in the roadway. I'm looking for my son's rig, Fire Patrol 1. I didn't see it. It turns out they were parked over on Broadway. And walking up West Side Highway, I'm just looking up at the North Tower and the gigantic gaping hole is just too unbelievable to be looking at. I'm looking at it. I just can't believe the size of the hole. It's just, it's beyond me. It's like it was unreal. You know, just one thing I just take exception, like, as far as like being a heroic or first responder, so I wasn't really a first responder. I consider myself more like this is a pedestrian or, you know, a spectator's point of view, because I wasn't, you know, in a rig. I didn't have my gear. The other guys were heroes. And I'll tell you, I mean, one of the things, as I went down there was a priest standing on the corner, and I don't know which road. I'm thinking Vesey Street and West Side Highway. And as the guys were getting off their rigs and walking down the sidewalk, you know, guys are staring up, and they were stopping. They were pausing on the corner, and the priest was blessing them. And then they continue, you know. I never saw that before.
Yeah.
I think everybody knew, you know, we were in for not a good day.
Yeah.
And, you know, I walked down to the command post on West Side Highway, and I was there with Chief of Department Pete Gansey and First Deputy Commissioner Bill Feehan. And I was behind them, I mean, at the time. And I can tell you that Pete Gansey turned around and said, you know, we're going to lose guys today. And it was kind of known, but I think that was because we got guys in gear with 100 pounds of gear walking up 70, 80 floors.
Right. And they're running, you know, towards the fire.
To the fire, as everybody working their way through, as other people are trying to get down. So the second thing that Pete said was, I remember him turning around. You know, so I was there like 9:15. I was like 45 minutes before the first tower came down. And
which was unexpected. Nobody expected these towers to come down.
We didn't expect that.
Was there any thought by anybody that maybe it could melt and perhaps fall down?
I remember now, I also had a handy talkie, which is a walkie-talkie. I had that on the whole time, so I'm hearing all the handy talkie transmissions. And I will tell you that before the first tower came down, I heard 3 Maydays. Now, a Mayday is a signal we give, you're in trouble, serious trouble. There was 3 Maydays. The first one I remember was, I think, a guy on the 32nd floor in a staircase. And we're thinking, you know, had a, you know, heart condition or something like that. You know.
Right.
They gave a Mayday for my friend. The first guy that was killed that day was Danny Sir, who was a Union delegate of 216 engine. He was hit by a jumper. It killed him instantly, naturally. And the other guys from his company credit him for saving their lives because they were on their way into the building when it happened. And, you know, they came back to deal with Danny. And then they weren't there when the tower came down. But he was number 1 that day. And all we were hearing, you know, the command post was just saying, watch out for the jumpers, watch out for the jumpers. It was literally raining people. It's the best I could explain it. I could tell you stories of what I saw, but I don't want to give people the same nightmares that I have every night. Views at certain things that I saw. And like I said, I was a seasoned guy, and I dealt with death and all that stuff before. But this
you weren't prepared for this. Nobody is prepared for this.
This was another category.
Yes.
And the films that you see, the news things, the film that the two French guys made, they edited out the sound as much as possible because it sounded like grenades going off all over. But I'll just leave the rest of that for now. That's the sanitized version. So then the next thing, to answer your question, the next thing that Pete said, the chief of department, I remember him turning around and saying, if there's one thing we don't have to worry about is the engineers say that these towers will never come down. And I can't tell time from that day at all. So I have no sense of timing. But what I remember, I thought he said that like 15 seconds before the South Tower dropped.
They really believe that.
We had no idea.
No idea.
I mean, well, we wouldn't have been standing where we were standing.
Right.
You know, right next to it, basically.
How close were you to the towers? Where were you located when the first tower dropped?
Like on near the sidewalk at the curb, West Side Highway, right in line with the South Tower.
Okay.
You know, the South Tower was a little further away from West Side Highway than the North Tower.
Right.
That's where I was. So I'll tell you what. Oh, so I skipped.
It's okay.
When I got to the command post, there's a company, they have boards where all the companies are. So they know where every company is for the chiefs running the show. And, you know, I just asked them, you know, do you guys know where Fire Patrol 1 is, you know? Because I didn't see their rig, my son. Right. They said, oh, yeah, they're in the lobby of the South Tower. So I just thought, okay, I'll catch up with him later, you know. And then the South Tower came down. So I did not think of myself. I didn't think of my son. When the South Tower started to drop, my immediate reaction of what happened, I felt like I just got a gut punch by Mike Tyson, as hard as he could punch me in the stomach. I felt like I half bent over. I might not have moved at all. It might have just been the feeling. You know, I grabbed my stomach and spun around. But my one immediate thought, which is all was all my guys. That was my thought in my head.
It's hard. Even today,
all my guys.
24 years later.
24 years later. It's ridiculous.
It's not ridiculous. It's
I spun around and I ran across the highway. I remember going up against the building, whatever building was across the highway, and I started going north. And that's the last I remember. I don't remember the half hour in between towers coming down. So I'm guessing that I was in shock. I felt fine. I mean,
physically,
how I could not remember. And even, you know, they said, well, maybe it'll come back in bits and pieces, might come back altogether. He has 24 years, still hasn't come back. I don't remember anything. That's 30 minutes I don't remember between the first tower and the second tower coming down. I do remember coming back through the smoke and seeing what I thought was several stories of the South Tower still standing. That's my picture. I call that that's one of the two snapshots I remember. But then seeing photos and stuff much later on, I realized that wasn't the South Tower remainder at all. That was the Marriott Hotel, which we remember. I remember.
Right.
It was a different name before that.
That's a little further south, right? From
it was just like
it's right there. Right next door.
right, just below it. And so that's what that was. I didn't know that till a month later. But you know, so I was looking for my son. That's all I know. A delegate told me that he said that I was under a rig sharing a mask with a guy from his company, and I asked them if they saw my son. He doesn't, nothing. That doesn't ring a bell. Have no clue. I don't know if that's true or not. So, you know, I was looking for my son. So my son survived. It turns out my son and another guy from his company, they just came out. They were going back to their rig, which was on Broadway. They came out Liberty Street, and they were going down Liberty Street when the South Tower. They were halfway down Liberty to Broadway when the South Tower dropped. And they ran, took off, and were in a cloud of smoke, and they, you know, saw other people being taken out as they were running. They made it. The two of them made it to Broadway and ducked right into there was a luncheonette there. And there's actually film of them. I have film of them. I have a film clip of the surveillance, the cameras from inside the luncheonette. Show him coming through the front door and grabbing a woman. He had his mask on, and had a woman, yanked her in through the door, and they shut the door, and you see the huge dark cloud right by them. You know, just at that moment. My memory picks up. I'm back on the sidewalk next to the North Tower. There's the northernmost tube that went across the highway. I was just below that. And that's in the collapse zone. If you look at pictures after, you'll see Rescue 1's rig collapse. That's
Yes.
a famous photo.
Yes.
So I was below that. So I'm on the sidewalk. And the North Tower, I'm going to tell you a couple of things people don't know. Nobody talks about it at all. There's not a lot of people that actually knew it. None of the photos, the film, nothing picks this up. Okay, so I am on the sidewalk, and I'm shaking. This is like an earthquake, a bad earthquake. And literally shaking. And the ground is rumbling. The tower is making a noise. This is like I am on a runway at the airport with right behind a 747, and they're winding the jets up to take off. It's a loud, low, rumbling sound that increased in
Intensity?
in pitch and in intensity, and it was going. And at some point, I realized I thought it was going to blow up. I thought it was going to explode. I didn't know what that sound was. So I realized it's time to run again, time to go. There's no rhyme or reason which way you go. It's just instinctive at the moment. A lot of guys ran, even the first time, a lot of guys ran towards the towers to go into the below parking garages. It's cover. Or any direction. Okay, so I spun around again. Again, I have sneakers on. Weirdest thing, first time in sneakers in 2 months.
Good thing you did,
Yeah.
so you can run?
Yeah, or else I wouldn't be sitting here.
Yeah.
So I didn't have gear on like everybody else. I'm glad I didn't have my gear in the car, because if I would have put it on, again, I would have hindered me enough I wouldn't be sitting here. So I spun around, and there's 3 truckies standing there with their hooks, staring at the top of the tower, right in front of me. I'm blocked by these 3 firemen standing there with their tools. And I'm not going anywhere that way, so I see light to the right. So I do another 45-degree cut, and I jump off the curb, off the sidewalk to the right lane, and I start to run north. I took like 2 steps in the road, and I heard a sound. The sound, I knew what happened, because somebody said, again, a month or so later, somebody said that when the tower dropped, it sounded like a runaway freight train. was like ba-boom, 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 and that was the floors collapsing on one another. So you heard not only the sounds, but it was the boom, 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 boom. Runaway freight train. I took like 2 steps running in the street, and I heard that sound. I knew it was the same sound. Mm-hmm. So I knew the tower was coming down. Mm. I looked straight up, and I saw the smoke cloud billowing out. You see that in the films. Mm-hmm. But what nobody sees or ever spoke about is when you looked when you were under it and you looked up, all you saw was glitter. It was nothing but glitter. It was like you took a snow globe and shook it upside down. And what that was all the glass. The whole building was glass. It was all the glass being pulverized. So I knew I was dead. It's like, okay, I'm dead. I'll just keep running until a piece of steel takes me out. Mm-hmm. It was just pretty simple thought, right? I ran, I think, like another 2-3 steps. I don't know. And for some dopey reason, I glanced up again, like real quick. I don't know why. Thinking like maybe it stopped. It's that. It was, again, just instinct. I don't know. I took another glance, and it's still coming. I'm seeing the steel coming down, pieces of steel. So it's like, here I go until I get taken out. Luckily, nothing hit me. And I stopped running at the corner of Stuyvesant High School, which is way up on the west side. Mm-hmm. And I leaned against the corner of the building. Far. I ran far.
You did.
And that is where the smoke cloud ended, about 6 feet from the corner of the building. Wow. I leaned against the corner of the building till I could catch my breath and realize what the heck just happened. Mm-hmm. And then I started back through the smoke, looking for my son. There's no rhyme or reason which direction you ran, like I said. If you ran towards the building, you were dead. Anyone who ran south was dead. If you ran across this highway, like I did the first time, like I was going to, just away, you maybe had a 40% chance of making it. As far as I know, I am the only person who ran north. I didn't see anybody else, and nobody alongside of me, in front of me. I saw nothing.
You're the only one on the west side highway
that ran north. Right.
Yeah. Because it was confusing with the clouds, smoke.
No! Well, the smoke didn't hit us yet. It didn't come hit the ground yet. They said it took 12 seconds. I must have run a 100-yard dash in like 11 seconds.
It took 12 seconds for the building to collapse.
That's what they're saying. I couldn't believe that when I heard it, because it's like, how
in your mind it was slow.
Yeah,
because
my mind, it was like forever.
Of course.
But then when I came back, I remember coming back into the cloud. Everything was covered. It was nothing but ash. It was like new fallen snow in the middle of the night. After a snowstorm, there's no footprints, there's no noise.
Everything pulverized.
Nothing, silence.
From people
Nothing.
to plastic to wood to metal.
The first person I hit, I'm at the corner of VC, West Street, and just passing VC. And I run into Steve Mosiello, who was Pete Gansey, the chief of department. He was his driver, his aide. He was his aide. So Steve asks me, he says, he's the first and only person I see. And he says, did you see Pete? I said, no. He kept going. I turned on VC Street because I seen nothing from a collapse. Maybe I can get around something, not knowing. So I walking up VC Street, and then I see a figure walking towards me, the second person I run into. And as it gets closer through the smoke, I realize it's Dan Nigro, Chief Daniel Nigro, who became commissioner afterwards. So Dan was also a friend of mine. So he's coming to me, and he's not looking at me. He's looking like over me, over my shoulder, just looking into the distance, staring like a zombie. And I'm walking, and once I could see him, Dan, are you okay? Danny, are you all right? Nothing. He's just staring into space, into space.
Yeah, he's in total shock.
Walking, and he's in shock, and I'm saying, boy, he is messed up.
Yeah. How can you
he
not
is
be?
messed up.
How can you
And
not be?
Not realizing I was
You were too, yeah.
And here's me
You
saying
can't
him.
escape it.
No, and he says, the only thing he says to me, he says, again, he didn't look at me. As he passed me and I'm staring at him, he says, Pete just sent me to surveil around the buildings. And that was it.
Yeah.
And that's me coming back again. Like, you know, I didn't do anything that day. I was a spectator, but, you know.
But you were involved. It's just that simple. You were involved. You participated to some degree. You communicated with some of them. You heard what was happening. You had front row seats. You were traumatized by it. I'm a witness to it now because I heard your story. I want to thank you so much for sharing this incredible story of bravery that you showed that day.
I was lucky. I wasn't brave. I was lucky. I'm like one of the luckiest guys.
I understand that. All those that exemplify bravery always say that they weren't, but they were intuitive, they were instinctive in doing what was right, and you were looking for your son, and, you know, this is something that was so instinctive to you, to find your son, to make sure that he was safe, and you were willing to run into it to a point, but then you ran back into it after the tower collapsed. So I want to thank you for your service. I want to thank you for who you are, a beautiful human being, a kind and generous human being. I know you personally. You're a dear friend. May we never forget 9/11.
No.
And may we always honor the sacrifices of heroes like Bill Mirro.
Not from that day. You can name a lot of other people.
There's plenty of heroes. You're a hero because you were there. You ran. You forgot that from Midtown, you went into your car and you drove right into it. You parked 2 blocks away, but you went as close as you could possibly be. You were one of the lucky ones that made it out alive, but you were very close to what was happening. And thank you so much, Bill, for joining us. I want to thank our listening audience and our watching audience for listening to this most incredible story. I'm your host of Ordinary Heroes. Today we had more than a hero. He was an extraordinary individual who did some incredible things throughout his career as a firefighter. Also represented other firefighters. Bill Mirro, we honor you. Until next time, I'm Bernie Furshpan of Ordinary Heroes here on hmTv.